Alright, a couple of weeks ago ArenaNet's introduced a Sunken Treasure event and coupled the new account Swim-Speed Infusions to it. I'm sure that I'm not the only one who was slightly disappointed when buying an account Swim-Speed Infusion and discovered that this item is only meant to be used in a single aqua breather. If you have 2 on your character, then you need to buy 2. If you have 9 alts, well, you better buy 9. See, the account here refers to a global bonus you can unlock for your account, which is still a major upgrade compared to the previous situation. Now, you can upgrade a single infusion to plus 30 and have that speed taken into account for all of your characters you equip with this new infusion. In the past, you'd have to make a plus 30 for every single character, or more specifically, for every single aqua breeder. I personally am rather wary of buying multiple account infusions in case ArenaNet changes their minds in the future and makes these actual account-wide infusions though. People with multiple sets of legendary armor already lived through this when the armory was introduced, although to be fair, they got compensated for them, even if it only unlocked another game mode skin for them. But that's not what this video is about. Let's talk about the insanity of upgrading a Swim-Speed Infusion to maximum rank instead, which no single player has managed to do up until this point. I know that these are only Swim-Speed Infusions and are somewhat of a niche item, but let's think a bit further ahead. All of this feels like a beta test to me for a more commonly used and needed type of infusion. That's right, agony resistance. People have requested a quality of life update for these for years, as right now you have to buy or craft up to 20 of them per character if you own legendary armor, and even more if you want to kit out multiple ascended sets. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and get back to upgrading Swim-Speed Infusions. You can farm plus 10 infusions by opening Sunken Treasure chests, of which there are 10 in the game, and they yield on average 2 to 4 infusions. To open these chests, you need ornate rusted keys, which you can get one of 3 ways. You can buy 10 for karma every single week, you can get 1 guaranteed per day by killing 10 crate, or you can get them as a random drop. Excluding random drops, that means 10 every week and another 10 every 10 days. Every time you open 10 chests, you also get 5 bonus infusions for completing the Master Diver achievement. If we take 3 infusions on average per chest, that means about 35 infusions every time you spend 10 keys. 30 from the chest itself and 5 from the bonus. Since there are 52 weeks in a year, that's about 1820 infusions from the weekly karma exchange, and you could add another 1260 from the chest you would open every 10 days from the Blood in the Water achievement. This in and of itself doesn't look too bad, but that's because we haven't talked about upgrading them yet. For the first real upgrade, you need 32 plus 10 infusions, which means that you can get 1 in your first week of opening chests. A plus 20 will require 32 plus 15s, or in other words, 1024 plus 10s, which takes a bit less time than you might expect because we're getting those 10 extra keys every 10 days from the achievement. So we're not looking at 30 weeks, but rather 18 in total. Anyone with a basic grasp of numbers will already see how this will go wrong, as we're basically looking at an exponential increase. So a plus 25, which requires 32 plus 20s, of which a single one already took us 18 weeks to get, will take a little over 10.5 years. But that's not the final upgrade. There is also a plus 30, which brings us to a grand total of over 330 years. There is a second option, however, and that's buying the infusions from the trading post. Currently, there are just under 48,000 available plus 10 infusions on the trading post. Buying all of those is something that is very unlikely to happen, as some are listed over 1 gold each, all the way up to 80 gold. But let's say a single player goes mad and decides to buy every single one of them. They'd be spending 29,000 gold. And this might be an interesting time to mention that the median account on Guild Wars 2 efficiency has about 129 gold, and that the mean is around 713 gold. Sure, this is only gold, we could also look at liquid gold, which includes easy to sell items, but we're still nowhere even close when taking that into consideration. And that 29k gold, that gets you only a single plus 25 and about halfway to your second, meaning we still have over 30 to go. There are multiple high ranked infusions available on the trading post too, but still nowhere near enough to get a single player in the game a plus 30. Let me rephrase that. There is not a single plus 29 or plus 30 Swim-Speed Infusion in the game even. The current highest that we can find in GW2BLTC's database is plus 28, which admittedly was created a while ago. So time-wise, farming a plus 30 yourself is literally impossible right now. Buying off the trading post could maybe technically be possible if the owner of that plus 28 decides to drop whatever gold they have on the trading post. But that's still not the whole story. There's also the cost of upgrading. See, upgrading a single plus 15 will cost you 71 silver and 68 copper, which you will want to do 32 times if you want to get a plus 20 and would bring the price to just under 23 gold. If you decide to take the next step and go for a plus 25, that number becomes 735 gold, which admittedly is still very attainable, especially for someone who managed to acquire enough infusions to upgrade. Getting that plus 30 though, that's over 23k gold in total, which we've already established is something most players will never do. I think it's safe to say that ArenaNet didn't really put any of these numbers into perspective and might find themselves in a bit of a bind. They could lower the amounts required significantly, which would destroy the value of the infusions of those who have spent a small fortune getting their plus 25 account upgrade. They could also increase the amount of infusions we get per chest, which again wouldn't be too favorable for anyone already owning a high priced version. Or maybe a third option, they could remove the time gate, which I think is probably an even worse solution. Because sure, you'll be able to farm them faster, but actually swimming around and opening the chest still takes some time. And we can actually estimate just how long it would take us. According to Fast Farming, visiting each chest on your main and killing the guards will take about 6 minutes per 10 chests. If you're clever, you can park 10 alt characters and make some clever use of in-game mechanics, which would lower the time to 2 minutes per chest. Since you'll need to open just shy of 30,000 chests for that plus 30, we're looking at just under 180,000 minutes, or 60,000 using the aforementioned optimized method. That's 750 or 250 days respectively of non-stop opening chests, 24/7 without a single break. And I refuse to make an argument why this would be a bad idea. So yeah, the new infusion system, in my opinion, it's actually a great idea, just poor execution. Let's hope ArenaNet uses the feedback to review the system, especially if this is what I expect it to be, a beta for the agony resistance account-wide unlocks in the future. I'd also love for them to reconsider their stance on needing to buy the infusion per aqua breeder by then, because if the current system remains in place, you'd be punished when it comes to agony resistance if you were to buy an account infusion per ascended armor set, because if you then upgrade to legendary gear, you'll be left over with a ton of infusions that serve literally no purpose, but still cost you a fair buck.